Everyone, welcome back. So this time, before I start, I just want to share with you guys a little something. So this little device right here, let's see, goes on that. This is my Celestron. It just hooks up to the eyepiece, and there's a camera in there. And I can take pictures, and it hooks up to my phone or my PC. So I'm gonna try that out, but of course it's thunder and lightning storm tonight. So not tonight, but usually the day after storms like this, we get really nice, calm, clear weather. So if that happens, I will definitely be taking my telescope out this weekend and posting probably some shorts with my new images. And just as a little insight, I got this mug from Amazon, and in case anybody was wondering what I look like when I edit or when I'm not on screen at all and sitting at the computer, this is what I look like. So if you would like a cool little mug like that, this one's called Funkerin. I don't know. Alright. It's too dark over there, you can't see it. But it's Funkrin. That's the name of the company. But they've got a couple little cats with computers and stuff like that. But I liked it, and I just thought that it perfectly embodied me. So yeah, that's it. But this weekend, be on the lookout for this. I am excited to start using that. So as you can see from the thumbnail, we are going to be doing dwarf planets, but this will be in two parts. This part is going to be the what is, and so it'll just be a short explainer on what makes a dwarf planet. Why aren't they classified as planets? Why aren't they classified as anything else? And then the second one will be a full lesson on each dwarf planet, at least each main dwarf planet, and then I might touch a bit on some of the other ones that have come up recently, but for now we'll just stick to the main 5. So what is a dwarf planet? I know this came, well, at least for all of us who are mid-millennials and older, we remember when Pluto was a planet. Most of my school age, Pluto was a planet. And then in early 2000s, so 2006, it was no longer classified as a planet. And they defined then what actually makes a planet. It took a long time for them to even do that. Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, so it took them quite a while. But in 2006, they finally had an understanding of what can make a full planet, or what we can call a full planet. So the dwarf planets in our solar system would be Ceres, Makemake, Haumea, Eris, and Pluto. And Pluto, of course, is the most famous of them. And I believe it is actually also the largest. It's the largest object in the Kuiper Belt, and that's why that's probably one reason why they classified it as a planet for so long. They also just didn't have as many popping up. I believe that when they started having more of these dwarf planets pop up, they were looking at them, deciding, okay, these things aren't asteroids, but they're not planets, so what are these things? And that's how they decided to come up with the ranking system. So, yes, Pluto was demoted, but I guess in its demotion, you could say that now it's the highest ranked in its current form. It was the lowest ranked in planet form, but now it's the highest ranked in dwarf planet form. So now we know the parameters. And what are they? So there's 3 main parameters, and it's that first they have to orbit a host star. And this can also be a star system, like a binary, if we're looking outside of our solar system. But in our solar system, they have to orbit the sun directly, meaning that they can't be a moon. There are, several moons, like Io and Europa, that are larger than all of these dwarf planets, but they're moons, so they can't be considered dwarf planets. They're orbiting a planet and orbiting the sun. If they were just orbiting the sun, then they would be considered a dwarf planet. 2, they must have overcome the rigid body to form a spherical shape. So that means that they have to have enough mass to become spherical. And I know that this immediately questions Haumea, because, let's see, as we can see here, here's the 5 main dwarf planets. And so Ceres is this little tiny one. It's actually the smallest of the main 5, obviously. But Haumea is not oblate or spherical, really. It's an oblong shape. But it's still considered spherical, because if it wasn't rotating as fast as it was while it was forming, it would have become spherical. Yes, and I'll talk about the details of Haumea and why it looks the way it does in the full lesson. For now, though, all you need to know is that it is considered spherical, even if it looks oblong right now. And then lastly, they have to have cleared their orbit. So each of them is in some other belt. So Ceres is in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. And then Eris, Pluto, Haumea, and Makemake are all in the Kuiper belt. So they haven't cleared their orbits. They have asteroids around them and stuff. Some of them, or I believe all of, I know Eris, Haumea, Pluto, they all have moons. So, I always lose my, there we go. I always lose my mouse. So even though they have captured moons, they haven't actually cleared their orbit. So they still reside within a belt of asteroids and other bodies like comets and such. But their orbits are not clear. And so these 3 factors together make a planet. And you have to satisfy all 3. And as we can see, they satisfy 2, so they do directly orbit the sun. They are spherical, but they do not have cleared orbits. So, unfortunately, that is what makes each of them a dwarf planet. Haumea is the only one here that is the only one of the main 5 that is oblong and not in a spherical shape anymore. But the rest of them do meet the spherical. Pluto obviously is the most famous one. So now that we have just the base understanding of why they aren't labeled as planets and why they are dwarf planets to begin with, then we can very easily move into the details of each of these dwarf planets. And so that will be next time. I am hoping tomorrow, but might need an extra day because that one's probably going to be a little bit longer. I am trying to keep the What Is series to around 15 minutes, maybe 20, because some of them are running into like 30 minutes, and then the lessons were also running 30 minutes, and so there wasn't this line drawn between what makes a lesson and what makes a What Is series. So that is why this one is going to be shorter, but the lessons will start to become a little bit longer because they will have a lot more detail. So bear with me. The lesson on dwarf planets will be very soon. Oh, before we go, I do have one more. And so this very clearly states just what I was saying. They have to orbit the sun and not be a moon. They have to have enough mass to be round, and they have to have cleared their orbits. But as I mentioned, they have not, and therefore that makes them dwarf planets. So, yep. That's where I'll end it tonight, but come back either tomorrow or possibly the next day, and you'll see a lesson here on the dwarf planets. And be on the lookout for those shorts from my telescope. I'm really itching to use it, so as soon as I possibly can, I will. And you will all see them. But for now, stay curious, stay inquisitive, and remember, keep looking up. Who said that? Tell me who said that. Also, you guys, figure this code out. It's really not that hard. You know what? Let me see. The first one is a J. There you go. Hopefully that helps a little bit. But yeah, the first one's a J. You'll have to figure out which one is actually first. So, see you soon.